Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt. Come join us at our newest clinic location at Good Faith Wellness Center. We provide compassionate health care for your entire family, from virtual visits to office appointments. We're committed to providing the best care. We accept all insurances, and we provide monthly wellness plans. Let's start your family journey to a healthier, happier life. Schedule your appointment today, and remember, true wealth begins with good health. Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt. Come join us at our newest clinic location at Good Faith Wellness Center. We provide compassionate health care for your entire family, from virtual visits to office appointments. We're committed to providing the best care. We accept all insurances, and we provide monthly wellness plans. Let's start your family journey to a healthier, happier life. Schedule your appointment today, and remember, true wealth begins with good health. Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt. Come join us at our newest clinic location at Good Faith Wellness Center. We provide compassionate health care for your entire family, from virtual visits to office appointments. We're committed to providing the best care. We accept all insurances, and we provide monthly wellness plans. Let's start your family journey to a healthier, happier life. Schedule your appointment today, and remember, true wealth begins with good health. All right. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Telehealth Tuesday. This is your go-to podcast for modern insights and wellness solutions. I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt, your host for the evening. And again, this is Telehealth Tuesday. While we're waiting for Ms. Carson to get all set up here, we're having a few technical difficulties, and we're sorry that we're starting so late. If you'll hang with us till probably about 8:30 or so, we promise to get all your questions answered, and we will get everything going that we need to do. We're pulling up a few things here. Just bear with us, and I promise you it's going to be an amazing show that you don't want to miss. We want to let you know that, and you guys let me know if you can't hear me, if there's any problem. We want to let you guys know that Telehealth Tuesday can be viewed on multiple platforms. We want to say hello to our viewers over here. Stress less, I see you over here in Instagram land. I want to say hello to you all, and thanks so much for joining. Again, we apologize for the tardiness here. This is certainly not like our usual. We're waiting for Ms. Val to get situated here. But in the meantime, I want to let you know that Telehealth Tuesday can be viewed on multiple platforms. You've got Dr. B TV. Now, that is our most important platform. DOCTOR, the letter B as in boy, TV. That's our YouTube link. And also Good Faith Wellness Center on Instagram and Facebook alike. Just so you know, at Good Faith Wellness Center, we are taking new patients. That's right, new patients. And why is that important? Because there's a lot of clinics out there, a lot of doctors, no matter if they're well-known or if they're a household name, or if they're new, a lot of times, you just simply can't get in. And so we want to let you know that at Good Faith Wellness Center, we can get you in less than 1 week. We can get you in less than 1 week. And if you have insurance, hey, perfect. But if you don't have insurance, it's still perfect. Why? Because the Good Faith Wellness Center plans are active. That means $99 a month, unlimited visits for an individual. $99 a month. That is cheaper than your cell phone bill. And so we want to make sure that nobody is left out. Nobody has an excuse that to be covered, to be in the hands of a great caring physician. And we have also Dr. Green and Dr. Stidwell, who's a chiropractor. So not just primary care, but if you've been in a car accident, slip and fall, and all those good things, whether you have a lawyer or not, Dr. Stidwell is amazing when it comes to chronic pain management and nutritional counseling. So we wanted to just share those things with you and let you know that whether you have insurance or not, you too can be covered. Now, in terms of bio, we want to let Val Carson give her own bio. I think she's still having some difficulties there getting set up. We want to make sure that she can let you guys know all about herself in the world of social work. Social work, these people are a gift from God. I don't know how they do it, but she's going to tell you all about how she does it. So we've got to send her. The link is expired. All right, we're going to try a new link to get her in here. Carson. Okay, just bear with us 1 second here. All right, we'll send that out. Regenerate that. Okay. And it is a live show, as we've said, and any and everything can go wrong. So we're going to be patient with it. And we're going to get Val Carson in here right away. So hang tight with us. Let's see. New link sent. Okay. So while we're waiting, hopefully she'll be able to get in with a new link that's sent. We wanted to do this episode. This is episode 98, believe it or not. Episode 98. And so we are here to talk about when family gets complicated, navigating through tough conversations, conflict, and crisis. I know that there are so many people out there who can identify with this. This is something that plagues us all, navigating through conflicts. One of the conflicts is that we wanted to talk about, right? And I want to get your input on it, guys. We definitely want to let's go to the comment section. We had someone in who was saying give me my appointment. Okay. Add to scene. All right. I see Val. Are you on there, Val? Can you hear us? All right. Perfect. Perfect. Let me get rid of this one. Okay. It's a little bit dark back there. We can't, but we don't want to chance anything. So we'll stay connected. But I can't really see. It was much lighter where you were. Um, okay. There we go. We don't want to change anything. All right. Yep. There. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Testing 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. All right. Let's see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Val Carson, give it up, give it up, give it to her. Yes, Lord. The devil has been busy trying to stop. He must have known that this is going to be an amazing episode, and he must not have wanted folks to hear this good news that you want to share with them.
Maybe not, but hey, you're the tech guy. I'm not, so.
Yes, indeed. Well, I see my frat brother, Dr. D. Lee. You still on Instagram, man? Shout out to A5A Alpha Phi Alpha 06.
Oh, well, we'll give you that.
In the building. Well, good to see you. We're so happy that you can join us tonight. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
It's a little low, but I can hear you.
It's a little bit low?
Yes.
Let's see. Let's try that. Is that a little bit better?
That is a lot better.
That's a lot. Okay. We're just adjusting a few things here. All right. Well, perfect. So, Val, I want you to take it away. I know we're running pretty late here. I
Yeah.
want you to let our audience know all about Val Carson, and for people who are not healthcare professionals, I want you to just even dumb it down to the basics. What is a LMSW?
Oh, well, a lot of people, they know, but I'm a licensed master social worker. I have primarily done medical social work and a whole lot of psychiatry and mental health. Most social workers on this level, we do a lot of discharge planning, and we work with doctors like Dr. B, uh, from residency up, and they can keep you busy if you're a social worker that's known in a hospital or a clinic. It's great work. I've done it for 30 years. I'm semi-retired as
Wow.
of Friday. And so, uh, and I come to you from Alcorn State and Jackson State,
All
the
right.
I love. So I'm a 30-year veteran of UMC, and now I've been out here with Mississippi True Care, Medicaid plan provider, doing community-based care management. A little different for me. It's not face-to-face, it's virtual, but that's the new face of healthcare. So, but it's been enjoyable. It's been a learning experience. Um, and Mike and I have talked so many times on and off, and we finally said, you know what, let's just do this like this. So I am glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And you said that so you're representing Alcorn University and Jackson State. Which one did you prefer?
Well, I have to give credit to both. I've always said I'm brave tigers, just because Alcorn gave me a lot of definition for my life, including Delta Sigma Theta, Delta Epsilon, Spring '89,
All right, DS.
and went to graduate went to graduate school at Jackson State and got my master's in social work. And those were those were some of the best decisions I ever made. So I have to give credit to both.
Awesome. You know, I was just I was just teasing you on that, trying to get you in trouble to everyone.
So it won't work. They all know.
I got you. I got you. Well, you know, we want to. I'm just gonna get my spectacles polished a little bit here, and then so I can see. And then we're gonna start with our first question of the evening. I want to let you guys know that obviously this is a live show. And so even though we have some prepared questions and some things that folks want to know and some hot questions, hot topics, like Whoopi Goldberg and all them say on The View, but we want to hear from you. That's the most important thing, because I'm going to stop mid-sentence. We're going to stop whatever questions we want to get to. If you guys have a burning question, a desire, you want to know how to handle situations in the hospital, what to do when mom, dad, grandma's getting tired, and family issues when it comes to putting them in a nursing home versus a rehab.
Oh yeah.
See, Val we both deal with that for a living all the time, but she deals with it from the social side. And so if there's a situation going on, we want to, and it's been somewhat difficult to navigate. So, well, this is your time to get your questions answered. All right, let's see here. But one of the things is, in terms of our audience engagement, we wanted to know what some of you and anybody on here that under the sound of our voice that wants to chime in, please let us know. And Val, you can give me your take on it too. What is the biggest challenge that either if somebody's answering this, we'll say your family, or Val, you can say that you've dealt with from families. But the biggest challenge from families that people face when caring for a loved one or dealing with a difficult life situation. So it's about audience participation. We want to hear the biggest challenge your families face when dealing with a difficult situation. But Val, I'd love for you to tell us about some difficult situations that you encounter when you deal with families too.
Well, if you just want to start talking about nursing home and long-term care planning, one of the biggest barriers that people face is no one wants to put mama, granddaddy, husband, wife in a nursing home. That is the taboo conversation of a lot of families. And when they hear the word nursing home, they hear division of Medicaid, and everybody starts scrambling because they're going to take our house, they're going to take our land, they're going to take everything, they take all of your money. Those myths are not that concrete. The biggest piece is that when it's time for long-term care, you have to weigh out the options of, are we going to sit here and pretend that we can take care of this loved one, or are we going to do what we have to do to facilitate their care in a facility? Of course, there's no perfect nursing home. You have to participate in that care still. But if you cannot rotate enough care for someone to be with the family member 24/7, it's time for long-term care. It's time for nursing home. I advise families always, don't just take my word or a doctor's word on which facility to go to. Get up and go to the facility, look at it, look around. If there's questions, come back with those questions and express your concerns. But certainly, you still have to make sure that you and the family have discussed how this is going to work. So, I mean, even as a social worker doing probably thousands of nursing home referrals,
Mm-hmm.
even when I had to do my own with my own father, it was a chore. I had to give myself a boost. Like, you can't keep him at home. So it was a challenge to learn that whole process from a personal standpoint. But families don't want to talk about nursing home. If you as a provider walk in the room and say, we think your grandmother, mother, sister, brother needs to be in a nursing home, people will they just almost shut down a lot of times. They don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? I mean, I know why it is, but why do you think that there's such a
Well, I mean,
stigma? Why do you think?
because people hear horror stories about nursing homes, and people see nursing home as somewhere where people dump people, and that they're not going to get the care they need. Um, but no, all nursing homes are not bad, and no situation is going to be the same. What goes on for you and your family may be different for what goes on for other people. Unfortunately, we do have people that go to the nursing home. They don't have any family, so no one visits them. Nobody comes to um, say, "Hey, how is this person doing? What is the treatment plan? Can I talk to the nurses? Can I see who's taking care of them?" Some people don't have anybody for that except for the staff at the nursing home. So people hear horror stories from, you know, even as a legal provider, some attorneys have that hard choice to, do
Hmm.
abuse cases and things like that. And it scares people. It is just what it is. It scares people. But like I say, everybody's situation is different. It is just a different scenario for each person. You have to stay involved. That's
That's
it.
right. That's right. Well, this was something that we've got some folks that were calling in, family and folks that are they're facing a difficult situation now, and I think they wanted to join us here, but they were showing me that they were at a different place right now, and so they're not able to join us, but they just phoned in and wanted to say hello to everyone. One young lady is a nurse there, and then they're facing this particular family is facing a very difficult personal situation. They literally just called, and it's a difficult situation of what to do with one's. I think it's the auntie and grandmother, grand aunt to some, grandmother, and of course mother to her sons. And the situation is the lady, unfortunately, is getting skin breakdown on her bottom and her back.
Right,
Just unfortunate
right.
situation in the family because, and there's all these different dynamics, that we deal with, and unfortunately, there's a lot of selfishness. I don't know the whole story, but I know that the patient, unfortunately, is being harmed. And I think that there's some secondary gain, whereas the son, who apparently is an alcoholic, and he's taking the check and he doesn't want to give up the money to do what's right by his mom, which is terrible. And so, but this lady is now in the hospital on dialysis, and I think that now it has become a social. They report him to there was elder abuse,
Yeah,
elder neglect.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's what's going on.
yeah.
I just wanted to know if I'm sure you've had experience with it. What do you like? How do you help those families navigate that type of situation?
Well, the thing is that one of the other pieces for that is a lot of families don't do power of attorney documents
Hmm.
so that people can identify the person that's responsible to make the necessary decision. So a lot of times it ends up being that that one family member that's wanting to rely on that financial gain, and
Hmm.
they want to be a obstacle to that placement.
Right.
So that has probably gotten reported to Adult Protective Services, which eventually goes to the AG's office. That's a form of financial and Medicaid and Social Security fraud and abuse.
Wow.
So I would advise them to let the son or whoever know that those are not people to play with. And if she's already got decubitus breakdown, which is
Hmm.
decubitus ulcers, she's already on dialysis, which means she can't be cared for at home, particularly with someone that's not more responsible than he is.
Hmm.
Um, they don't have to make a big fight about it. Someone needs to step up and say, we're going to get her signed in, and we're going to get the Medicaid done and get the Social Security switched over so that it will provide the care for her at the
Hmm.
nursing home of choice. Most families don't have power of attorneys or guardianships. So it's usually just a next of kin issue and the interested party. So if there's another family member, another sister, another child or a sister or brother, someone has to step in and make that decision. But the hospital has already done what they're supposed to do, which is report that.
Okay. Um, I appreciate the input on that because, yeah, that's something that truly bothered me. And, and one of these people, crazy thing is one of the people that's involved in it and in question came to my office recently. And so,
It
and
happens every day.
yeah,
It's an everyday thing.
it's crazy.
Every day.
Then their
Yeah.
story is different than, but anyway,
Right.
um,
Right.
you guys, can y'all, Ms. Baker, I see you there. You said you are so right. I'm a nurse. Are you still with us? Keisha Baker, are you still with us? I see my lovely mom is there, Dr. Lily James. So wonderful to have you. Baker says, you are right. I'm a nursing home nurse and I love my resident. But Keisha, let us know if you're still there in the comments. Let me know because I got a question for you, Keisha. I had a question for you. But well, let's move on. So one of the other questions that's come in, why is a very straightforward, basic one. Why is communication so important? Excuse me, why is communication so difficult among families?
Well, like I said, families, there are a lot of taboo conversations with family communication. People don't want to talk about hurtful things. And when it comes to money, property, air property, who's going to do what, who's going to run mama, daddy's money, it just becomes a really difficult conversation that people don't want to have. But that's something that if you're adult children and you've got an aging parent or parents, you have to do a Sunday sit down or whatever day and sit down, ask them what they want. If they can still contribute to the conversation, ask them what they want when it comes to that time. Ask them where they want to go. They may have a particular place that they want to go to, but you have to talk about it. And that's how a lot of families get into these rivalries and family feuds and these blow up arguments.
Mm,
It is just something that they are always in denial about. Nobody wants to make the hard decision. And other family barriers, people just don't like to talk about making hard decisions. You come in contact with parents and other family members when it comes to behavioral issues with children, addiction issues. Families don't want to talk about the hard subjects. And we're now in a time where no matter what the conversation is, we have to learn how to sit down and have a sensible, civil conversation
mhm.
and make long-term plans for our family members and for our families in general.
Yeah, and you're so correct about that, and it's a shame that that more people haven't planned properly, and especially in the minority community.
Right.
Family don't like to face. Yep, you're right, Keisha. You're so right about it. And I think we that's one thing where we really missed the mark um, our ethnicity of people, that we think that grandma and granddad is supposed to just live forever, and it's unfortunately that's just not the case. And you wind up, and I know you, like you said, you've done thousands of referrals. You've seen this over your 30 years that um, just like I have a patient now in the hospital, 91 years old. And, you don't want to seem cold, like, okay, well, he's, lived his life. But the good Lord promises us 70, which is 70 years. So every year above 70, is a gift. And so he's gone 21 years over. So now he's on the ventilator. He's in the ICU. Just check. Matter of fact, then that's a bad enough story. Let me go to the
Right.
other lady. Another lady who's 90 some years old. That lady's not even, literally the daughter says she hasn't walked or talked in 9 years. This
Oh,
lady,
wow.
I hate the term vegetable, but she is basically that. You turn her, water her, feed her. You got a catheter in her bladder, catheter up her rectum. Uh, she's basically brain dead, just sitting there, kind of and blinking her eyes. Peg tube in her stomach, and they're just continuing this over and over. So I don't know. And the crazy thing was, they said that this woman lives at home. So I said, who is taking care of her? And they said, well,
Nobody.
nobody in the family, nobody, but somebody's just getting a check. And I just get so pissed off when I see this kind of crap. And man,
But
sometimes I just lose it on these families. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there so people understand the kind of foolishness we run into. Go ahead.
well, I mean, I was just going to agree with you that it's all about, and it's really hurtful when it comes down to money. That
Yeah,
you
it really.
would deny someone the quality of life that they can have at the end of life, because if you're trying to keep them at home, there's no social security check
Mm-hmm.
that's much money that you should sacrifice their overall well-being. And comfort care measures can be the best choice in the world in a facility. Everybody can come visit, everybody can take turns, but people get wrapped up in material things. And then there's that myth. They think that Medicaid is going to come in, and some people actually think there's like a Medicaid crew or somebody that's going to come and take the car and they're going to bolt the house up. And that's not what the Division of Medicaid does. They just want you to account for assets. If there's money there that someone has put aside to take care of them in their end of life days, that's what that money should be used for. And I know it's difficult when someone is struggling to maintain households, but you are really, really destroying a person's end of life and where their spiritual life is taking them.
Wow.
If they've lived that long, to live in a bed like that and not be responsive and not be able to respond to anyone,
Mm-hmm.
it's just detriment. And one of the other things, Dr. B, that we don't talk about advanced directives. Advanced directives can give you a chance to write down what you want in the future in the event that you are unable to communicate with your family. You can write it down, you can make sure it's a part of your medical record, and then there's no question about what people need to do. The other thing families need to learn to do is they have to have that power of attorney um, conversation about finances
Mm-hmm.
and medical decision making.
That's right.
Those are things that you can Google. You can get templates for what the document needs to look like. You can get it notarized, get it filed with the chancery clerk, and it is going to stay active, and it tells people who you want to do what with your life and your belongings and your assets. But you got people out here keeping folks at home until they're vegetables. And then they have no choice but bring them to the hospital. And then they want doctors and providers to fix them up and, send them back home. And what are you going to do when you get there?
Mm-hmm.
That's
What are you gonna do when
24/7
you get
care.
there? Yeah.
Right. If it takes 3 or 4 shifts of nursing and nursing staff to care for someone, one person at home cannot diligently do that. You just can't. And that's why you get people with all these complex medical scenarios, because they stayed at home too long and no one has really taken care of them. So I mean it's a very sad thing, but it is just a huge reality for us. And you're right. In our families, we really don't want to hear. I'm not put the first thing you hear is people saying, "I'm not putting my mom in no nursing home.
I
My
am.
dad and I going to no nursing home."
No, it's not happening. Not happening. That's
Oh,
what
now
they say.
that's out the question.
Yeah.
They'll fight you before they want to sign some nursing home papers now. You
That's
know.
right. That's right.
So
We Crystal Kelly says so true. Delegate responsibilities is always great. So all the responsibilities will not be on one person yet. That's true.
right.
Absolutely.
Because one person is usually gonna get the bulk of the care, but everybody will say, "No, we're not putting them in the nursing home. We're not gonna do this." But then when it's time to take shifts, you get 1 or 2 people show up, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's over, and now you got one person. And I don't want to use the word burden, but you got one person taking on total care, and that's when the family arguments usually start as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and and it's really unfortunate. Yeah, because like you said, all of that responsibility shouldn't be fault, especially if they have multiple children and stuff.
Right.
Like we definitely see that. Keisha says, um, taking a check, taken away from someone's dignity is horrific, and it pisses me off too. Yeah. We've got Marnie Winning Tompkins. If you go back about what is it, Marnie, 5 or 6 episodes, you'll see what she is. So, and actually, Val, when you're talking about end of life and making certain decisions and setting people up for success and the things that we don't do well in the minority community, Marnie Winning Tompkins is someone with best coverage solutions. We'll see. We'll put it up right there. So you guys go to that link and check out my good friend. She's going to take care of you. Some of the things that we're talking about, because you don't want to be in this situation when you're either in the hospital or in the hospital on your deathbed, or at home on your deathbed, or just sick overall. And now you're talking to your healthcare provider. Now the social worker is coming in the room, and people don't know what's going on. You have no power of attorney. You have no plan at all. So you want to talk with Marnie and get with them, so you're never in that predicament. Let's see. There are many long-term care insurance carriers. Let me help
Yes.
you find one, so you're educated about how your family.
That I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
if that's something she is providing
that's right.
in our community a lot, we always hate to have to point out things that we have deficits with, but
Hmm.
in our community, we don't know what long term care insurance means. We
Oh,
didn't hear about that. We grew up. Grandmom and granddaddy had life insurance policies. They expired, and people had bill burial and policies and things like that.
mm,
But we didn't learn about long term care policies that provide for private duty care
hmm,
at home. So that because sometimes some people aren't comfortable at home and they're physically able to stay at home, because a lot of dementia patients, they do better in their own setting than they do going into a facility. But
yeah,
they still need that long term care incentive to have someone come in and help the caregiver. So those long term care policies, you could post that again every day so that people will know that that is a service that we really need to invest in a lot more in the African American community.
we done. Absolutely. I could not agree
It's
more.
great to see her doing that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Let's go to our next question. And look, like we said, you guys, we are here live with, we'll do a quick pause for the calls, here with live with Ms. Val Carson, LMSW, licensed master social worker. So that means all the difficult situations that a lot of people deal with, especially the ones I definitely don't want to deal with. This is what she has, over 30 years, her life's work is dealing with this kind of stuff. And it's not always bad or negative, but of course, probably the majority of it,
No, there are a lot of good
when it comes
stories.
to
Yeah.
this, yeah, it can be bad. But anyway, we're here live to answer your questions, whatever concerns, if it's things that you didn't feel comfortable talking with your healthcare provider. It might even be things that you didn't feel comfortable talking with your social worker or case manager with at the hospital. Maybe they didn't explain that. Maybe the doctor didn't. So this is what we're here for. So we want to hear from you guys. What are the situations that are going on? What questions do you have? Because we are here donating our time to give back to the community. Donation, in other words, free. So we're here to give back as part of our ministry. So we want to hear from you. But I'm going to keep going, Val, until we
Okay.
let them keep going. So whenever someone's ready, don't all ask at once. Uh, the other one question came in is, what are some healthy ways for families to handle disagreements with the other family members? What healthy ways? What are the healthy ways that families can handle disagreements amongst the family?
Well, I think that most families usually going to identify whoever the matriarch or whoever the person is, that is pretty the go getter. Um, you're going to always have some naysayers. You're going to always have somebody say, no, we ain't doing that. We're not going. But there's always one person that is really handling the day-to-day business of that aging parent or grandparent or
Mhm.
that spouse, husband or wife. So you normally have a older sibling or a younger sibling, but someone is always kind of the go-to person, and that's the person that has to maintain their confidence in the fact that they're making reasonable, sensible, achievable goals for planning care for this family member.
Mhm.
Um, they can't let anyone shake them from that. They have to try to make sure they're communicating as clearly and honestly as they can. And
Mhm.
sometimes families just can't talk together. But I've done so many family conferences where I could say something and it would be accepted, where the other family member could have said the same thing and it sounded like it was a trick. But once sometimes you have to go in and meet with your professional providers in a hospital setting and say, hey, sit down with my family and I and explain to us what we need to do. The other thing is people have to get over guilt situations from years past, things that have happened in the family that people are still bitter about. You have to let those things go so that you can have an open communication
Mhm.
about what's best for the person that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
because you go to these hospitals. For one, I know you go to UMC with a whole lot of foolishness in a family situation. It is not tolerated, and they have the right to suspend you from visiting the campus if you are not, following the conduct guidelines. So all this arguing and bickering, it has to stop.
Yeah.
But I would say to whoever that primary family member is, just reach out if they need to get professional intervention and mediation to
Mhm.
help make those decisions.
Mhm. That's great. That is great. Great advice. Um, so, what would you say? How can someone? Well, actually, I want to skip to another one. That the single most important piece of advice that you would give families that are struggling with conflict or caregiving responsibilities. The single most important piece of advice that you would give to these families that are struggling with this.
I just tell people to try to make a plan. Make a plan before the plan is needed, before the crisis hits. If you already know mama, daddy, husband, brother, whatever, is having mental health problems, uh, mental health changes in memory and function, if they're having multiple medical admissions and illnesses, make the plan before the crisis happens. You're not going to push the end of life just because you have a conversation about what we're going to do when we have to go to the nursing home. What are we going to have to do when that person dies? We don't ever want to talk about death. I mean, but most black families just don't want to talk about death at all. They don't want to talk about burial or anything. I just try to tell people, go ahead and have these conversations before it's time. Because when you are in a crisis and you don't even know where benefits are coming from, you don't know where policies are, you don't know
Mm,
what kind of coverage people have,
that's
find
right.
that information out ahead of time and be proactive. You have to, because none of us are going to live forever, and none of us are going to just are. Some of us won't, but
Let's see here.
you have to be proactive. You have to be proactive
Yeah, absolutely.
and stop being in
Yeah.
denial. Just stop acting like it's not going to happen. It's going to happen.
Um, um, let's think we had lost you for just a second there, but it came right back into me. We're sending a message back here. Let's see. One second. Um,
While you're doing that, Dr. B, I was going to say dementia and Alzheimer's is another big taboo situation. People don't want to admit that that person is at that stage where they can't be left alone.
mhm.
And the person may look physically fit, but their mental capacity has diminished.
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer's and dementia will destroy a family because there's a lot of guilt in no one wants to admit that it's time, that the memory is gone, and that diagnosis is there. So if you've got an aging parent or spouse or whatever, you gotta really acknowledge that Alzheimer's and dementia can creep up very slowly, but it can also be very aggressive. So I just tell people to remember that acknowledging Alzheimer's and dementia, memory loss, and mental status changes, it doesn't mean you're giving up on the person. It just means you're acknowledging that they are no longer themselves. They're not the person that you probably once knew. Um, so I just wanted to throw that in there too, as far as the kind of the long-term care kind of issue.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we continue to see it that way. And then, we'll get to that, Keisha, your question there. But one of the things about that I see also is that we probably do the worst job as providers when it comes to hospice and end of life.
Oh,
You
yes.
guys, I want to set it up, man. I want to, because I love describing things. So I want to set it up. You've got a person who's sitting there completely out of it, right? We use the term vegetable. They are out of it. They're not responding. Man, look, and about the funny thing, here's a hospice situation. I had a crazy lady, this crazy woman. Thank God you didn't have to deal with this crazy woman. But my mom, she's probably going to be laughing in the background. She busts out laughing. But I'll make it very short. So there's a lady. Imagine that there's a man who's had a traumatic brain injury, multiple strokes, heart attack. He's got a tracheostomy in his neck. For those of you not medical, trach is when you have that hole in your throat and it's connected with that tubing. They breathe out of it. That's a trach. Then he also has a feeding tube in his stomach, tube up his rectum because he's having diarrhea, tube up in his penis. I'm just setting this up for y'all. And he's gorked out of his mind, eyes rolling in the back of his head, just moaning and groaning. There's nobody home. This is the patient we're talking about. Then you've got his crazy, excuse me, we've got his loving wife, and she's walking around this place with this huge Bible, like even larger than most pastors carry, large Bible. And she literally is sprinkling the holy water and all this and oil, holy oil. And I come in the room and I say, even though I'm sure, we're all Christians here, but faith without works is dead. And there are Bible verses that talk about fools in the Bible. Well, this woman was one of them. And so you can imagine, even people non-medical, the man is completely gone. He's been so for months, probably was years. She's walking around the room doing all this carrying on, saying she's going to sage the room in the hospital. Say, ma'am, you can't do that. You're going to set off the fire alarm. Then she says, well, Dr. Bookhardt, look. And the woman literally, I promise you this is the truth. The man is sitting there completely comatose. She walks over to him and said, Dr. Bookhardt, he opened his mouth and looked at me. And I said, really? So I come over there excited to see this medical miracle. The woman, Val, she takes her hand, puts it in his mouth, pulls his lip down, and lets it go and says, oh, did you see that, Dr. Bookhardt? It's a miracle.
Now, you know that everybody that's a caregiver is not the most stable person always. A lot of times, caregivers as such, um, they can be very delusional about the reality of where they are. And I'm like you. I'm spiritually grounded. I know I didn't choose social work for no other reason except for that's what God wanted me to do, and I've always believed that. And I'm always ready to support anyone's spiritual beliefs, ethically considering that you've got the right to have whatever thoughts you have about, spiritual healing or whatever. But I think that God also gives us the rational thought to make sensible decisions. Listen to our educated and trained professional providers. Um, but you're going to always have situations like that. People believe what they believe. And no matter what you tell them, whatever their delusion is about what they see that person doing, see, but those are the situations where providers and interested parties, you have to challenge that person's capacity to make decisions for that person. The first thing I would have told you to do is don't continue to try to convince her that he is not going to get better, but go through the legality and the ethical path of report this, get this put in front of just the advocacy people
Hmm.
so that they will understand that this person is not able to make decisions. She wants him to be what she wants him to be,
That's right.
and you aren't going to change that.
No,
And you know,
we didn't. We
I've
definitely.
gotten called names, and I got into guardianship some years ago, and one of the hardest parts was going in saying in front of a judge under oath that a family member couldn't take care of someone, but if it meant the betterment for my patient, my client,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't have a choice. I may like you, I may even know you, but if you're not able to make decisions for that person, then that doesn't go with me. And that's what that sounds like. And she is going to let him linger like that for the longest. Now I hate to say this, and I don't want to step on nobody's toes,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
but you do know the longer people live, the longer the checks come. Because what people don't realize, when that person dies, you don't get that Social Security money no more. And if you get it after they die, you better keep it there or send it back because they're gonna take it. It is not yours to have. So you get a lot of conflict of interest from people that that's why they will prolong a person's life, and they will avoid subjects like hospice, palliative care, comfort care.
Hmm.
Because you know, Dr. B, palliative care is very, very, very trending right now when
Hmm.
it comes to offering comfort and quality of life at the end of someone's life. So it's just a conversation that has to be brought up. So that's one of the things. If you haven't had that conversation with her, you need to go ahead and say somebody needs to call and make that report, because the longer it goes on, the more it looks like you and your team have not acknowledged it. So that would be a grave concern of mine. So, like I used to tell some of the doctors that I've worked with, you know, one of us got to tell it. One of us got to go run and tell it. And if you don't do it, I'm gonna go do it.
That's
And
right.
so
Some.
somebody got to run and tell it.
Yep, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Keisha. She said, I meant to get to that question. Keisha, let me go.
How can you reach them?
How can we reach? So, I noticed that many people are so deep in denial. How can we reach them to help them better? Yeah, that's what we're talking about, Keisha. But I don't know if you want
Yeah,
to expound on that, Bell.
yeah.
You want to expound on that?
But it's just a matter of, if you see something like that, you have to report it, because if you see it and don't report it, you're almost implicated as, you know, you're someone that's mandated to report that. We are. And if we don't do that, then that puts us at risk. But if it's a family member, you can make a report anonymously. You don't even have to tell the Adult Protective Services who
Hmm.
you are. You can just make an anonymous report. But somebody has to step up and take responsibility. Because as an interested party, you can even advocate for someone that you're not blood relative to,
Hmm.
but you can, you know, supplement that information for them and make that care plan, you know, make decisions about that. So those, that goes all the way back to those advanced directives and those power of attorneys and
Right.
all of that. So see, that was a good question. Thank you for that question, dear.
That's right. Uh, Renisha, you're a new viewer. Thank you so much for joining us, because I know I didn't recognize that name. So thank you for coming on. Renisha says, how can a caregiver effectively communicate with family members who have concerns or strong opinions about care decisions, but may not fully see the challenges involved in providing daily support? I want to say that again for the people in the back and for the people on Instagram and LinkedIn. Renisha says, how can a caregiver effectively communicate with family members who have concerns or strong opinions about care decisions, but may not fully see the challenges involved in providing the daily support? Great question.
Well, you know, one thing that, you know, and over the years working with just multiple physicians and now nurse practitioners, and one of the biggest challenges that the medical teams that I've worked with had, they would try to go in and try to talk about all the medical conditions and what that meant, for that patient. And families would be afraid to ask questions before the fear of sounding or feeling like they were uneducated or inept, or that they didn't understand what the doctors or providers were saying. So
Mm.
they were reluctant to ask the necessary questions. So we got to the point where we started to do a lot more respect for health literacy,
Mm-hmm.
and breaking things down to just a literal reality. Someone on dialysis that has skin breakdown, and Dr. B, you said it earlier, they got sores. When
Mm.
you see bed sores, that's the common name
Yeah.
for decubitus. But when you see or hear stage 4 decubitus, that's a very, very bad wound. That's
Mm.
not going to get better, most likely. It's going to get infected. The person is going to continue to get sick. So the best way to communicate to people when they don't really understand the challenges, like I said earlier, if it takes 3 shifts of nurses and nursing staff to care for someone, and you're one person at home and no one else in that family is going to help you, the challenge is telling them, I can't do this by myself.
That's right.
And then some people can't even stomach some of the care that is needed. Everybody can't do dressing changes.
Oh no.
I mean,
No.
wounds are not easy to look at when they are skin breakdown, and you've seen some of the worst
Oh yeah.
kinds of wounds,
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
and it gets really bad. So that challenge is really hard. And you have to sometimes get people in the hospital um, that just let them help you. Some people fall out with their doctors, they fall out with their social workers, they fall out with the case managers, but try to figure out one person on that medical team that you feel comfortable talking to talk to the family in a very common sense conversation. I used to just tell people, look, your mama can't go home. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
your mama can't go
Straight
home.
up. Just
No,
straight up.
I know all of you. I know you all work. I know what you do. I've talked to all of you. I'm just being honest. Your mom can't go home, or your dad can't go home. Because if you let them lay in the bed at home, they're going to get the same ulcer that they're going to get anywhere else. But who's responsible for that? You. Where you are not medically trained to avoid that, you are going to get blamed for not being able to turn that person, get them out the bed. If you leave them in a soaked bed because they've wet the bed and they're laying in that moisture for 6 to 8 hours, that's going to come a burden on anybody involved in that care at home.
That's right.
So that's how you tell people the reality of, look, this is just above us. That's all it is to it.
You
That's
said,
it.
this is above us.
It's above us.
They talk about caregiver stress as one of the questions. How do you recognize when caregiver stress? Well, let me go to Crystal. Being a caregiver once, I faced challenges with social situations. The role often leaves little time for a personal or social life. Caregivers can feel cut off and unsupported by other family members. And that's interesting, Crystal. I thank you for that point, because the next question, Val, was going to be about caregiver stress and how do you recognize it? How do people navigate it? And I'll just chime in on that, Crystal, that, I've been a caregiver myself, even though my mom is ambulatory, but she has some challenges personally, but she can still do for herself and does not have any type of, memory issues, praise God. But that is a very difficult thing. And we always try to tell people, I'm sure you've said this, Val, whenever we have people in the hospital, it could be a loving wife or a loving child or whatever, and they're like, I'm not leaving my loved one's side. I'm not leaving. And this person has not bathed, showered. They've not had a decent meal. They're eating all this hospital crap. They're asking for a secondary tray, second meal tray, so that the hospital can feed them. They haven't combed their hair. They just look terrible. You can see the stress and the wrinkles in their face that have all started during this week. Like, you can see this stuff. And I tell them, I said, look, Your loved one is in the hospital with medical professionals. This is the place they need to be right now. There's nothing that you're going to be able to, aside from certainly the support, and the emotional support, but physically and objectively, there's nothing that you're going to do for them right now more than we're doing for them already. So the best thing for you, and this is what I personally say, I say you need to get some doggone rest. I tell some of them you need to comb your hair. You ain't even put no lotion on. But you probably do deodorant, and and get you a hot meal or whatever your favorite pastime is, gym. Because if you croak over or pass out and you got to go your behind to the ER, now you're gonna be in a room laid up next to your loved one. Now
Right,
you can't do
right,
anything for them. You can't do anything for them. So that anyway, that's
right. Well, I mean, I think the end conversation is for us to say caregivers, I used to tell people all the time in a very realistic way, caregiving will put you in an early grave. You'll die before the person you're taking care of if you don't take care of yourself. So
boom.
if you don't want to leave them for a short period of time, but yet you take a chance on overexerting yourself and you get sick and you leave them, just say you leave them because, like Dr. B says, if you have to go to the ER or you get sick, you're no longer able to help them at the hospital or at home if you're sick yourself. But
That's right.
the other reality is a lot of emotional stress for caregivers. They feel like they're the only ones participating, or they feel like there's a lot of guilt if they take a break or if they want to, just get a nap. One of the things that we recognize with that is a little bit of over utilization of ER time. We would have people over the years bring folks to the ER for little simple complaints and leave them there or want to leave them there for
Oh,
hours and hours. And I'll admit, I've stalled on some, discharge plans to
hmm.
move people because I knew the person needed to at least go home, take a bath, just sit in the tub for 30 minutes without rushing back to see if that person hadn't fallen out the bed or, you got to cook meals, you got to do medicine, you
Mm,
got to do doctor's appointments, you got to do household chores. So caregiving can take an undue stress if there's one or just two people doing it. And a lot of family members, they'll come and sit around and say, oh, we're going to help you. Just call me anytime. Call me when you need something. As soon as you call people, you don't get nothing but crickets and you don't get any help. But if you don't separate yourself and identify that you need help, whether it's respite care, and you can ask your social worker or your case manager about respite care
hmm.
time where you can bring folks to a facility and they'll keep them for 7 days, 14 days, and you can get a break, but you don't have to feel guilty about needing that break. Um, over the last recent years, I've had a lot of people who had kids with autism, um, and they got hospitalized, and the parents wanted to stay, with them. Like, why are you staying up here? If they're gonna take care of them while they're here, you need to go home and get some other stuff done. But they would just feel so guilty about taking a break. Caregivers have to take a break.
You
If you're
have.
a caregiver, you have to take a break. Don't let anybody tell you you don't. Don't let anybody make you feel bad about it. You tell them if they don't want you to take a break, tell them to come over there and do it for themselves for a week and see what it feels like. So, and I know everybody doesn't have a backup, but don't let people tell you that you don't need a break. And if they're in the hospital, go home 1 day, two
Boom.
days. Go sleep in your own bed. Hospital cots are not comfortable,
No,
and the
God
food
forbid.
is not the best. You need to go and get your own home cooked meal so that you can preserve your energy, so that you'll be alert enough to know what the doctor said the next time they call you
That's right.
or what the nurse said. And if you feel like they're not, the nursing staff or whoever the caregivers on the unit are not doing the best, go and talk to a manager. Let that doctor know that you don't think the nurse or the nursing support staff are doing what they need to do, but go home. Go take a break. Like you
Yes,
said,
Lord.
a good hot bath has never hurt anybody, and there's nothing like sleeping in your own bed. Period. That's it.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it. Amen to that. We got
Nothing.
look, if I had somebody who was like producing this or something who's going to edit and clip it up, we would make a clip out of that. You know what? Let's say it one more time for the folks in the back about what we'll make, and just give me like a 15-second version of what people need to do when they need to take a break. Give me a 15-second version.
Go home. You go get in the car. Go home. Take a bath. Eat a full meal. Go to your favorite restaurant. Get in your bed. Stay in the bed 8 hours. Take some Benadryl if you have to, but go to sleep and don't get up. Turn your phone down. Give them an extra number to call so the neighbors can knock on the door if something bad happens. But take care of your own self. You cannot do anybody any good if you're worn down.
Amen.
Bottom line.
Amen. I think a lot of family members confuse that. They confuse it and we won't throw any shade because the person who my father's deceased, but the person who I would say this about is still alive. So I'm not going to throw too much shade. So I'm just going to say that there are some people out there who confuse them hovering over a patient, staying there all day, listening to the people's every word and saying they just can't miss a second. Like, some of these crazy folks don't even want to go urinate because they're afraid that they're going to miss something. And some people, they truly confuse that type of irrational behavior with love. You're actually
Right.
thinking that you're supporting the
Right.
person and doing them some kind of service when you're actually not only doing them a disservice, you're probably being annoying to them, and then you're definitely being annoying to the medical staff. So it's good for you to take a break. It is good for us for you to take a break, and and sometimes your loved one get tired of seeing you too. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, I think the other thing is the other piece for that, the practical thought for us that I usually try to deduct from that. What is it that you're afraid that we're going to find out if you leave? If you
Mm,
leave and
mm.
do you think that person is going to say something or do something that is going to let us know that something else is going on? Whatever is going on is going to come to light because if the person is being abused or neglected, or
Mhm.
you're not caring for them the way you should, it has already been indicated. It's already been identified. It's not, you're not going to hide it by hoovering over at the hospital because
That's right.
the more we see, the more we understand. And so, you know, if you're fearful of leaving because there's something wrong that you don't want the person, go ahead and tell me. I used to just sit there and tell people, just tell me what it is that you're worried about.
Hmm.
Because whatever you're worried about, it's going to eventually come out. But this
Right.
behavior of yours is not helping the situation any, you know. And you've got a lot of separation anxiety when it comes to couples, particularly couples that have been married for a long time. A lot of times, that one sick
Hmm.
spouse is the person that complemented and supplemented everything about the relationship. The
Hmm.
other person is so codependent that they don't know what to do when they go home. And yet they hinder the patient from getting better because that's probably the reason they're sick in the first place is because they were taking care of the other person. We've been in a situation where we've had to admit a spouse because we figured out that that person didn't have capacity to make any decisions. So he couldn't even drive home because he couldn't figure out how to get home. So we ended up having to admit him
Lord.
because the wife was not well and there was no way to disposition him without
Lord.
keeping him there. So it's a lot of scenarios, but like you said, sometimes the patients do better when some family members go home.
I agree. I agree. Kalisha Patrice, what's going on? Uh, I want to say hello to you and your wonderful husband, and big shout out to Hello Black Man podcast and clothing brand. Kalisha, if you want to put your information in the chat so people know how to contact you guys and how to get some of that awesome clothing apparel. And I need another shirt, black and gold, preferably. And I need another one. Okay, expeditiously. Okay. Um, But Alicia, yeah, let us know. You said, I have so many things to say. Well, back, let's see, can you stay with us 10 more minutes? I know we started so late. You got 10 minutes?
Yeah.
All right. Alicia, give me one of those things you want to say. Give me one thing. Give me one thing. Keisha says, I think this is my favorite episode, but I say that all. Yep, you do. And look, we are so grateful to have you. You know, I had somebody tell me, you don't have to shout me out every time, but Val, I do it because I know, number one, people are not recognized enough, and we know the psychology of it. It does help people feel recognized and feel good, even if they say they don't like it. And but I think it's just important because as certain entertainers say, and one of my favorite entertainers says, I won't say his name because he's really done a bunch of foolishness, and he's actually quite hated a lot right now. But amazing R&B singer and musician, you might know who I'm talking about. But this person said, hey, in whatever city he was in, and I would go to his shows, and he would say, ladies and gentlemen, it means so much for you to be here. There are so many places you could be on a Tuesday night, and you have chosen to spend that time with me. And for that, I say, I just thought he was so cool when he would say that.
Yeah.
But it really is true, So anyway, that's why we say it. But thank you, Keisha, Kalisha, all you guys for supporting us. But go ahead and say what's on your mind, Kalisha, because you heard Miss Baker said this is so healthy and so juicy of an episode. So go ahead and let us know what's on your mind. But I'll just say one of the last thing that I wanted to say, or one of the final questions from my end. We touched on the caregiver stress. One of the points, or one of the questions was, how can mental health challenges affect family relationships?
Yeah, that's one of my heartfelt subjects. And very quickly, I see Kalisha's question. But mental health, that's another show. I'll just say mental health. Yeah, mental health is a whole nother show because mental health can go across generations of barriers for families, from kids to grandparents.
That's right.
And behavioral health and addiction and substance use, all of that ties into making communication even harder because there's so many myths and so many misconceptions about mental health disorders and what they mean. And I'll give one quick example that is one of the most ill-faceted situations ever in behavioral health. A lot of people want to be bipolar. A lot of people want to be bipolar to get away with a lot of behavior that they really can control. And for the person that's truly bipolar, it's an injustice because some people's behaviors are not that are indicative of bipolar disorder. And therefore, people that truly need that precision diagnosing from mental health providers, they can sometimes get missed because some people out here with these bad behaviors. So there's a difference between negative behavior and actual diagnosing. So when I work with people with behavioral health issues and mental health issues, I encourage them to go get a solid evaluation from a solid provider and know what's wrong with you. Let that person help you so that your outcome is going to be a lot healthier versus tagging on multiple diagnoses from different people or just not getting the right diagnosis in the first place. So that's that, but Dr. B, that's another show, really.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. Behavioral health and family communication and navigation is something that is taking a toll on our community in a whole nother, um, it's just a whole nother scenario than just medical conversations and life planning conversations. So, but I would be glad to, chime in any time about behavioral or mental health.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll definitely bring you back on. We'll definitely bring you back on for that. Kalisha said, I've been dealing with health issues lately, and the system has gotten so financially based that it is hard to get quality care. Look, I got to say something about this, Val.
Yeah.
I got to say something. Um, People need to understand, and I've said this before, and I know that my guy Dexter Mayberry, with Boosted Herbalist. I know he's normally on here. We'll just try to put him in the chat. Dexter Mayberry. Boosted Herbalist. Amazing guy, does all these different programs, has a organic company, and he's got something for all your ailments, for hypertension, diabetes. He's a plant-based company, vegan, just an amazing all-around individual. But anyway, I met him at this men's conference about a year ago or so, and the guy comes up to me after we were on a panel discussion, and he says, "Man, I've never heard any doctor say the stuff you say." And I said, "Well, what was it I said?" He said, "Well, when you said the part about, a lot of healthcare is about money, and when you're in the hospital, these folks don't give a darn about you." And then he goes, "You went on to even talk about the bonuses that y'all get for keeping us sick." And I said, "Yeah, and that's look, Val, before I'm claiming that will become syndicated one day, but while this is my own platform and nobody paying for it but me, I'm going to say what I want to say, and that is that when you're in the hospital, and this is not a knock against UMC, Baptist, whoever, all these hospitals are the same. Doctors as hospitalists, which is what I do now still, as a hospitalist, which is the doctor that's primarily focused in the hospital, if you have a threshold, usually most hospitals is 17, 18. If you have more patients over that number, every quarter, you get a doggone bonus. Now, they've moved to quality bonuses now. They're trying to get away from this kind of thing. But up until around now, it has been that so the doctor basically is incentivized to have more sick people in the hospital because he or she makes more. We're talking $10, $15, $20,000 a quarter because you are sitting up there laid up sick. So you can see that it behooves the doctor to not discharge you, to not do the best job they can to help you, because the sicker you are, the longer you are, the more goddamn money they make. And this is true. And the guy, he said, "Man, that floored me." And so that's why we got to wake up. And I was only mentioning that because you talked about, Kalisha said about it's hard to get quality care. Medicine, these hospitals, this is a business. It's just like church. People say, "I'm going to my pastor." They can't believe these pastors are in helicopters and doing all this. What about the person? Yeah, it should be about the person. But the truth is that a hospital, a doctor's office, a church, all this stuff, when it gets to a big enough level, it is about money. So that's why you got to make sure you're advocating for yourself. You're talking to your social worker. You're communicating with your family, and you need to have a primary doctor that cares about you. That's why if you don't have a doctor, well, we say you got one now. That's why you need to go to Good Faith Wellness Center, where we're not run by corporations. Nobody's saying how long to spend with a patient. Nobody's telling us what to do. There's no hospital that owns us. We are our own entity, and we take care of people the right way. Go ahead, Val. I had y'all soapbox. Go ahead, Val.
Well, and of course, I've never really been on that side of
Mm-hmm.
the hospital and the mechanics of the financial end of it. I actually was in a situation where we were always challenged with discharge, 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 because on the parallel of what you're saying, a census may bring about bonuses, but when length of stay gets into the point of two things, and this is when I would advocate for effective discharge planning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people come in and say, "Well, I got good insurance, so they just gonna keep me here. They don't want to let me go." No, see, your good insurance don't want you to stay here no longer than they want to pay for it.
Mm-mm.
So people need to understand that. Listen to your providers. Understand that the longer you stay, the more it's gonna cost, of course. But if your insurance provider denies 1 day, 2 days, or whatever, and you're still sitting there and you haven't said, "Hey, can I go home? Can I be discharged? I feel better." You're gonna get stuck with that bill. And one of the things what she's pointing out is that trying to find adequate care based on whatever insurance coverage you have to really, really know your plan. Whatever coverage you have, if it's a Medicaid plan, if it's a Medicare plan,
Hmm.
or a private insurance plan, you have to know what your insurance plan will pay for and what they won't pay for. And when they say, "Hey, it's time to go home," you can go home with home health, you can go home with this or that. But a lot of people, they do the reverse of what's best for them. And so that's why you do have some doctors that keep people in the hospital a day extra or a day longer,
Yeah,
but you have to know what's best for you and your situation.
that's right.
Don't get hung up on that, even though Dr. B is sharing that. But don't get hung up on that. Pay attention to what's going on with you.
Hmm.
If you feel like you're better and you want to know a sensible reason why I'm still here,
Hmm.
ask that question. If you feel like you're being discharged too soon, ask that question. You can appeal that. You can
Appeal.
ask.
Yeah. Hmm.
But you got like you said, you have to advocate for yourself though
That's right.
and your situation. So, but that's when I encourage people go to your doctor for an office visit versus an ER. Don't keep running to the ER for things that you can go to the doctor for. And I hate to say it, Dr. B, but I gotta put this on some of the men now. Some of these men out here will not go to the doctor until they're sick.
Or
Women,
unless it has something to do with their penis.
well, but women were typically going to go to the doctor. One, like you said, we're gonna get that pap smear, we're gonna get that mammogram. We have women are having children. They see a doctor on a much more regular basis. But you got men that will not go to the doctor. Just because you're
Stubborn
not
refusal.
sick does not mean you don't need to go see your doctor. You need to go to the doctor and stop running to the ER when your stomach hurts, because your stomach could
Hmm.
be something simple that your doctor can catch in an office visit. So, you just want to look at that financial barrier when it comes to healthcare. I mean, it is what it is. Some people got insurance and some people don't.
That's right.
And I know people have to do what they have to do, but advocate for you what's best for you, and let your doctor know what your situation is, and don't let them take advantage of you in the hospital or out. So it's
Mm.
all about knowing. We can Google anything now. If any question you have, you can Google it. AI will tell you anything you want to know truthfully. And that will get you on the right track to advocating for yourself.
That's true. Well, look, we're going to leave it there. Val, I'd love to let you close with whatever you want to tell the audience, and I'll say my closing spiel. And then if you'll hang on,
Okay.
just hang on while after I close and run the credits, if you'll hang on and we can chat with
Okay.
people after. But
No, just want to say thank you. I'm about to get out here and start doing my own consulting to do
woo,
all of the things that we have talked about: nursing home placement, psych evaluations for
awesome.
referral. Yeah, I'm not going to be trying to be in private practice doing therapy. I'm just out here. One of my biggest talents is I can talk to you, figure out what you need, and I can get you to the person you need to be with. Whether that's a doctor, a psychiatrist, a therapist, physical therapy, whatever. That's my joy, that's my heart. I like to direct people. So I'm more of a community navigator versus, I don't have a couch for anybody to sit on and tell me all their problems. I'm out here trying to link people to access what they need for a better life and for a healthier life. So, Dr. B, I appreciate you for having me on. I love this platform.
Thank you.
I think that you should stick to it just because people don't get this kind of conversation from doctors. So, and I'll fuss at you if you do something that I don't think you should. So
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
he knows we have not, we are great friends, but we have
Oh,
fought and fussed and I
yeah.
don't see him all the time, but that's because you've got to keep your good providers in the community. And we appreciate you for hanging in there with us and not going to the big business healthcare. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And
Thank
I'm just gonna hold on, and then because I want to at least forward you my contact information, and you can share it.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. And and if you, I don't know if you have access to the chat, you can put it in there. You see what we put
I
up,
will.
effective immediately. Val Carson will be partnering with Good
Yeah,
Faith
I see.
immediately. So, uh,
I see.
yeah, so we've got that. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Val Carson. Give it up for yourself. Give it up for So this is, but yeah, if you'll just hang tight real quick, we'll close it out. Thank you all so much. This has been another amazing episode of Good Faith. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about my clinic, Telehealth Tuesday. And so we've been here with Ms. Val Carson, licensed master social worker. We've talked about all kinds of things. If there's something that you missed, I was going to say too bad, but not too bad, because this is episode 98. And if you go to Dr. B TV, that's DOCTOR, the letter B TV on YouTube, click that subscribe button, and then you'll never, ever miss a beat. Okay, so we want to make sure you go to 98 episodes. So come see us. Also, Good Faith Wellness Center are taking new patients. And so if you have insurance, great, no problem. We take every single insurance payer. Who can ever say that? Every single insurance. If you don't have insurance, it's still great. $99 plans, unlimited visits. That means Monday through Friday, each and every week. You can come see us. If you just want to come hang out and sit in our comfortable, amazing chairs, we've got 2 massaging chairs in the lab area. Or if you just want to come hang out with our office manager, Conchetta, don't tell her I told you to say it, but you come on and hang out with her. Now, just know that this is not a substitute for insurance. So if you go to major hospitals and say, I have the Good Faith Wellness Plan or Bookhardt Care or whatever, you will be denied and turned around. I'm just letting you know that. So, but this is to keep you out of the hospital. We want to make sure we take care of your blood pressure, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, depression, whatever it is. So make sure you come see us. Nobody has an excuse. Next week, we're going to have another amazing guest. We're going to have Val Carson back again, and we're going to claim it that we don't have any kind of malfunctions or equipment issues, that we're going to just claim it. We're putting it out there in the midst, and it's going to be an amazing time. Bring someone with you next time. Don't keep this to yourself. We're here each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. So as we always say every time, that true wealth begins with good health. See you Tuesday.
Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt. Come join us at our newest clinic location at Good Faith Wellness Center. We provide compassionate health care for your entire family, from virtual visits to office appointments. We're committed to providing the best care. We accept all insurances, and we provide monthly wellness plans. Let's start your family journey to a healthier, happier life. Schedule your appointment today, and remember, true wealth begins with good health.